Welcome to the J Scott Outdoors podcast. Today we've got the president and founder of GoHunt.com, Lorenzo Sartini on the line. Lorenzo, how you doing?
Doing good today. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I think the last time we talked, you were getting geared up and headed to Colorado, I believe, for third, maybe even fourth seasons over there, and your expectations were high, and you had kind of high hopes, and we're all fired up about getting over there. How was your hunt?
Yeah, I ended up taking one of our guys who deals with our landowner tags for Go Hunt. His name's Dennis Lee. He's been working for me for about 2 years. I ended up taking him over there on a third season hunt, and just like everybody, we had super high hopes with the late dates, with that calendar rolling over and that third season going clear to the 13th of November. So, when we had tons of high hopes, thinking we were, going to get a lot of snow and the rut was going to be on, just like everybody was burning all kinds of points on third season this year, and it was the exact opposite. It was, warm weather and pretty much nothing for rut activity. But we ended up getting it done on a really cool 3-point buck. We ran into a lot of hunters throughout the hunt on some other bigger deer, and we filmed it. We'll be releasing that film next week. But it was a fun hunt. It was a really fun hunt, and it got me ready because my dad, my brother, and myself, we all had fourth season tags in the same unit that we drew. So it got us ready, and as luck would have it, that fourth season we got a bunch of snow. The rut started turning on, bucks started moving in, and we all three killed really nice bucks. My brother killed the biggest one, and it was awesome. We got to hunt as a family on that fourth season, and to me, that's what Colorado's about. Whether it's third or fourth season, it's a place of opportunity where you can get a good size hunting group out there with drawn tags and have a good chance at killing good bucks, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, the thing about Colorado is, you never know what's going to show up, and especially, you're hunting around those rut dates, and you know, I, I was expecting a lot better results across the board on that third season, but
Yeah.
that it was just an Indian summer, so to speak. I mean, it was warm from everybody I've talked to. The deer were really not moving around, which if it just was normal weather, normal temperatures, you would have had quite a few bucks chasing does and, at least out prospecting. But I just, from what I hear, it was so warm that the deer were fairly lethargic. A lot of the little bucks were chasing does, but just the bigger guys were just laying back in the trees. And then
it,
you guys
it
had
was
that
crazy.
storm. Yeah, I had that storm come in, and it was like a switch went off.
Yeah, it was like that third season hunt. I mean, I have multiple pictures on my phone that I was sending to my dad and my brother because they were stuck in Vegas at work while I was out there taking Dennis Lee hunting on that third season. I have multiple pictures on my phone of 68 degrees
Yeah.
out there, November 10th, November 11th, 68 degrees while we're trying to turn out the big deer. And the weird part is, and I think a lot of the reason why there wasn't a lot of quality deer coming out on that third season is the deer weren't high and they weren't low. Like we went up to, 10, 5, 11,000 feet and there was no deer. I mean, zero. We saw some elk and that was about it. And then you go down to the lower, the bottom floors at 6,500, 7,000 feet, and the small bucks were running does, but those big deer were just held up in that transition area and the cedar trees and that big pine, and they just would not come out. I mean, it was one of the craziest third seasons ever. I mean, 68 degrees is insane.
Yeah, I had a third season landowner tag. It ended up falling through and got postponed to this coming year. But what a blessing in disguise. I was bummed
No
out
kidding.
about it, thinking how late the dates were. But it would be very rare to have the same opportunity and have all of a sudden have that really warm weather. If it just had normal
Yeah.
weather where it was, in the low 50s as a high, I mean, that's even manageable. But when you're talking in the mid 60s, upper 60s, it,
And not a cloud in the sky either.
yeah, for me, any big animal, mature animal, whether we're talking elk, whether we're talking mule deer, coos deer, it seems like when it gets warm, those big bucks or big bulls, they just lay up. They just hang back in the trees, and then conversely, if you had really crisp, 10-degree mornings, 15-degree mornings where it was really cold and daytime highs, maybe in the upper 30s. you'd have every big deer on the mountain running around, prospecting. And I think it just comes down to temperature, and they just get hot and they want to lay down. They don't want to be up.
Yeah, it's and what you just said is exactly what we saw, because that hunt, that third season ended on the 13th, and our hunt started on the 16th. And the 16th was still in the mid 60s for the day. I think the high was 62, but it was super windy because there was a front coming in that was actually going to cool things off. And I mean, the second that front came in, it dropped down to 7 degrees in the morning, with probably 8 to 10 inches of snow on the ground, and every deer on the mountain was out. Every buck was out chasing does. I mean, it was like almost overwhelming from what I saw in the third season. And like, I had to take a step back and like kind of calm myself down, because I was seeing so many bucks now from going, from 0 bucks a day.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy. I mean, the second that storm came in, it was just a whole nother story. And I'm learning that weather, I mean, it's just so important when it comes to those November mule deer hunts. And like you said, even if it was, 40s and 50s, if it was just manageable, I believe I heard it from you, just saying, like, as long as there was a consistent weather pattern, if it was just that 40 to 50, those bucks would at least get up and move, morning and night, instead of not at all, with it being, 25 degrees above average and above normal.
Yeah.
If it would have just been that nice manageable weather that those deer are somewhat used to, it would have been fine. I don't think it needed to be 7 degrees like it was on my hunt. It just needed to be that normal 45, maybe a little bit of overcast, and we would have been okay, but we just never got that.
Yeah, I think going back to mule deer, or even big coos deer, when you do get those warm patches, I think it's very important to be glassing on those shady slopes in the afternoon. Find those
Yeah.
shadiest, thickest pockets, and you have to glass right up until it's pitch black dark where you can't see, because a lot of times those bucks are laying in those those aspen, those quaky patches, and they're laying in the shade. And they will
Yep.
not get up till, I mean, maybe with 5 minutes left of light. But definitely, if you find yourself in warm situations, get to where you're glassing those shady bowls, and find the biggest amount of shade you can, and you're probably going to find more bucks in those pockets. Man, your brother has he shot some pretty good bucks here the last couple of years.
Oh my God.
You're gonna have to give him a swirly or something.
he's become the big buck killer for, I mean, his whole life, and I'm so happy for him. Like, his whole life, all he's wanted to do is just kill big mule deer, and he's just been one of those guys that can never get luck to catch up with him. He was always just, a little bit away from luck happening, and he shot some really good bucks, just nothing crazy. And actually last year is when it started, and now it seems like luck is just right on his toes every time he steps out and goes mule deer hunting. I mean, this year he shot a giant in Utah that nobody knew about, was never on trail cameras. I mean, it's just insanely big, just a big old desert buck. And then he goes out to Colorado and shoots a low 190s buck that's got cheaters everywhere and just an awesome frame on him. And then he goes to the Hickory and shoots a 191 typical. Like, he's just, I don't know what's happened to him, but he's definitely taken the luck from whoever had it before him.
Is his head swelling up a bit? Is he hard to get through the door there at the office when he walks in?
It's the reason why I love him. And he never gets an ego about anything. Such a good guy, extremely successful at work. And he's never been that kind of guy. And it's like it never happened, though. Like, now he's talking about next year, like these last 2 years haven't even happened. Like,
he's starting over.
Yeah, he's like, next year I just want to shoot a really good buck. That's what I'm after next year. Is just one really good buck. I'm like, well, have you forgotten about the 5 you killed over the last 2 years, or what?
Well, good for him. That's awesome. That's fantastic, and it's awesome that you guys were able to get out there and share it, with your dad and the three of you hunting, and get that family time in. I know that's so important for you guys, for sure.
I've had such a good year with my dad this year. It started out with that Dall sheep hunt that I got to go on with him,
Yep.
and just like the guys were talking before. I mean, it was we did a 2-on-1 hunt, which is extremely hard for for Dall sheep and caribou, and we just got so insanely lucky with the Dall sheep, with caribou, with wolves. We were right next to each other on every kill. We got to spend 12 days in the middle of nowhere together, living out of a tent. So that's kind of what started off my year this year. And then I got to archery elk hunt with them in Utah, which was insanely fun. And then got to Colorado mule deer hunt as well, and with my brother involved on that one. And this year couldn't have been any better for me hunting with my family.
That's awesome. And I know you've got some January plans coming up. I think you're going to hunt some mule deer, possibly in Sonora, and that's exciting.
Yep,
if you haven't
the,
done that
the
before,
the family trend is going to continue into Arizona, and none of us are into Mexico. Sorry, and none of us have done that before. So we're crazy excited for it. Don't really know what to expect, but we're all going to be together, so we're pretty excited.
Yeah, that it's just so fun. I've been going down since 1999, and I haven't missed a year down there in Sonora. And we're more in northern Sonora, chasing Coues deer. But the people, the food, the weather, I just love it. You feel like sometimes when you get on those ranches, you're back to 100 years ago in the U.S. You get to some of the gates and some of the way that they shut their gates, and some of these, it's, you look at some of their watering systems, and, they use, gravity fed and artesian wells. And it's like, this is like what it was, 75 years ago in the US, which I think is awesome because they're still using some of that old time ingenuity, which I think, it seems like sometimes it just fades away. And, but you're going to see things down there that, it just you make sure you take a good camera so you can just, you catch some of the coolest sunrises and sunsets down there in Sonora. So that's going to be awesome for you guys.
That's good to hear. That's awesome.
Lorenzo, I wanted to give you a chance. Obviously, GoHunt.com Insider has been the title sponsor of my podcast virtually since the beginning. And we talk a lot about it on the podcast, but it seems I am always picking up new listeners, that are just picking up on episode, 200 and whatever, and then they go back and listen to prior episodes. But for those of the listeners that maybe are new, can you kind of give me a broad overview about Go Hunt and Go Hunt Insider and what you do on an everyday basis there?
Yeah, definitely. First and foremost, we're just an educational platform, much like your podcast. But what we do is aggregate all the data and information for all the units in Western hunting. So the short definition that we like to give people is we're basically the one stop for any Western hunter who wants to know about a certain state or certain unit, how to hunt the unit, or information about that unit. Like I said, we cover all the units in each state, from the animal trends of harvest success and tag quotas for resident, non-resident, to, the draw statistics, and everything under the sun. Really, it's become, over the last 2 years, we've continued to build out. And that's one blessing that we have about being online, is we never stop building onto it, and we never stop adding information to it. It's not a static print publication, and it doesn't just sit for 1 year. It's just constantly being updated with new information that we find out, or draw systems are changing, like Arizona changed, and it gives us that flexibility to just stay on top of Western hunting as a whole. And it's the one stop for information and data about Western hunting, which, as you know, or as anybody else trying to hunt the West, it's all about playing those trends and those data findings, because by the time you draw the tag, things are going to change. Or by the time you get to elk hunt in Utah, or get to sheep hunt in Arizona, for example, it's going to take a long time. So things are going to change wildly in between when you start applying or have 5-10 points to when you actually draw the tag with 15 plus points. So we really focus on those trends and that changing information, so hunters feel like they have the most up to date and informational product around, so they feel prepared when they go to burn their points, or when they go to deciding that they're actually going to start applying for a certain state. And it's become a beast of a product on our side, but that's our commitment to our users, is we're going to constantly update it, and no matter how heavy it gets with data points. I think right now we just eclipsed 30 million data points on the site. And yeah, our dedication is to just keep it growing and keep those trends and information coming. So that's pretty much what we do on a day-to-day basis.
How important was it to you when you started GoHunt.com and started the Insider program to make sure you launch on a digital platform as opposed to print media and such, where I mean, you must have saw the trends, forming of how everybody's on their cell phone, everybody's on their iPad,
Yeah.
everybody, is mobile. How does mobile play into your site? PhoneScope is a company that makes custom-molded, precisely engineered smartphone digiscoping adapters. Photographing wildlife has never been easier. It is simple to text photos and videos from your smartphone and share them with your friends. PhoneScope stands behind their product with a 100% money-back guarantee. Get yours now by using the JScott16 promo code and receive 10% discount on all purchases. Check them out at PhoneScope. That's PhoneSkope.com, or on Instagram at PhoneScope.
Mobile, for the most part, about 40% of our traffic is through mobile, which is a lot for us being an educational platform. It's majority desktop because we're so graph with our trended graphs and our mapping software. Like, we're pretty heavy, so desktop is usually when people want to go into that in-depth reading and finding out what they want to do. But cell phone, for us to be 40% mobile, it was pretty surprising to us. But just like everything, I mean, you watch people in the airport, or you watch people at work, at lunch, whatever, they're always on their phone. And we wanted to build this product to be able to function extremely well on mobile too. And that's also been, one thing we've been dedicated to, because we understand people want to use their phones, whether out in the field or, driving on a highway and wondering what unit they're in and what the stats are on it or how easy it is to get a tag, those types of things. So we always wanted to make sure that mobile functioned. And we get about 40% of our traffic on mobile, which is awesome. But, like you said about how important was it to launch digital, I wanted to change the process of what a Western hunter went through to find a hunt or to be prepared for a hunt. Then we got the team involved. Chris Porter and I got the team involved. He's kind of been my right-hand guy through this whole thing. He has all the online experience. And, we wanted to change the process of Western hunters finding hunts and information. And all that was out there was print publication. And we just felt like that was unfair to do to the industry, is to just add another print publication and not change or innovate or make the process better. So that's what we wanted to do, was make the process better. And obviously the way to go about that was digital, so we can just stay on top of things and keep it a growing product instead of just, a reoccurring magazine that shows up with, a summary of the year before. We didn't want that. We wanted it to be, a constant growing, innovating product. And that's what we've basically built it into be.
For sure you have. And just for the listeners out there, you can go to gohunt.com, and there's actually a free portion of the site where you can get a ton of information, a ton of stories, photos, all the things going on in the Western states. And then there's the Go Hunt Insider, which is where, when you want to get more in depth, you want to start learning and studying and trying to find those hidden gem hunts, find maybe an over-the-counter area with higher quality than others. And per state, when you're talking all, the Western states, and you want to really dive in and get all of the draw statistics. I remember early on a podcast, you were referencing like the iPhone, and you were like, Jay, we're like at the iPhone 2, and now we're at the iPhone 3, and now we're at the iPhone 6. Tell me where you feel like GoHunt.com Insider's at now, compared to maybe some of the early days. And for people out there that maybe were joined 2 years ago, where are you now, and how have you progressed?
Yeah, so we revert to that iPhone conversation constantly in the office too, and it's funny you asked that. Chris and I just had this conversation the other day, and I genuinely feel like we are at the iPhone 6 now, like as far as our product, because we have just launched year-over-year draw odds, which there's been some companies in the past that have provided that. Whether their draw odds are accurate or not is to be determined, but they've had that trended year-over-year draw odds product out there. Well, now we have, I will openly say, and obviously I'm a bit biased, but I will openly say I will put our draw odds up against anybody. The way we've built these are the most accurate you can find anywhere. We've had a massive build out on our draw odds and making sure we have the most accurate around. And this year we have added year-over-year draw odds. So now you can visibly see point creep in units. You can visibly see how applicants are jumping from unit to unit, which will in turn affect the point creep per unit. So it's become a full product now. There's history from years before, and then there's the planning for the year coming up. And a user of the site and a user of Insider can see and plan their hunt based on the trends from the past years and the new information rolling in from these states now on the current year. It's become a full suite of a product offering now, and I genuinely think we're at the iPhone 6, and we have a lot of plans in 2017 that are a bit under wraps at the moment, but 2017 is going to be a big year for us, and I definitely think that's going to put us at that iPhone 7 as far as that
scale
comparison goes. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it really has become an awesome product. For me personally, we use it every day in the office for hunts being found, like Brady Miller, who's our resident celebrity hunter, who's always having amazing hunts and he's the most in-depth hunter that I've ever come across, and I'm so proud and happy to have him on our team. He's such a good guy and just an all-around awesome hunter. He puts more work and more study into hunting than any other person I know. And he found a hunt that takes 0 points to draw. 0 points to draw in Colorado for third season. Goes and does a public land DIY and kills a 200-inch typical. And, that's the kind of guy he is, but that's also the kind of product that this is that shows people those types of opportunities where it's not just about Colorado 44, where it takes, 10x points to draw, even a third season tag. It's not about that. It's about all the opportunities out there and being able to hunt quality hunts every year. That's really what this product has become.
Yeah, we've had Brady on the podcast here several times, and I get great feedback when he's on. He's just a wealth of knowledge, super humble guy, but just bleeds knowledge and expertise.
It's crazy.
It's crazy how he's, all the stuff that he's, I always say, well, I can try and figure it out, or I can call Brady or text Brady, and I know he's already run it through all the tests, and
exactly.
He always has an opinion and backed up by solid research and his own trial and error. So having him as a part of your team and digital content manager is awesome. Team down there is incredible. You mentioned though year over year draw odds. How does that play out? In other words, how far back do most states go in year over year? Are you talking like last year's, or are you talking you're going back 2, 3, 4 years in some cases? How does it work?
This is it's year over year from last year. So it's last year compared to this year. So we have 2015 and 2016 stats on the site right now. So we have 2 years of information, which, it's, some people could say it's not enough. Some people could say it's plenty. I think it's plenty just because people are jumping from unit to unit so constantly from year over year. Like whether it's the Henry Mountains in Utah or the Ponscot in Utah, the applicants are jumping so wildly from year to year. Like a 2-year trend is just as important as a 5-year trend. It's not really going to tell you anything too much different. So we have 2 years of trends right now. And it's plenty to see. Like, a real world example is my cousin Heath Jr., who lives in Utah, lives in Cedar City. He actually just welcomed his new baby daughter into the world 2 days ago, which is really, really cool for them. But not to get too far off subject. he has 13 points in Utah as a resident. So he's always been constantly deciding what he wants to do and which units he's open to draw. And in 2015, for example, at that 13-point level, there was 8 applicants for the archery Ponsagat hunt, and he's an archery hunter. That's what he wants to do. He wants to kill a really good buck with his bow. So last year in 2015, there was 8 applicants at 13 points. And 2016, this new year, there was 21 applicants at 13 points, resident applicants at 13 points. So essentially, his draw odds at 13 points in 2015 were 100%, guaranteed tag. And in 2016, it dropped to 8.3% with that many applicants jumping in that 13-point column. And it's crazy to think that you could sway the odds that much from year to year. But it's true. Like, you hear people talk about Utah right now, and it used to be all about the Henry Mountains and the Henry Mountains. That's all they would talk about. Well, now the Ponsagat has really bounced back with their age class and buck to bill ratio, and applicants are catching on, especially the resident applicants. And that southern Utah, population has also figured it out. And, looking at bucks off the Highway 89, just right off the highway, people are taking pictures of unbelievable deer. And it's caused that big jump where it, more than 2x the number of applicants at each point level. To take that a step further at that 14-point level, which is where everybody was in on the Henry Mountains in 2015, because there was 0 applicants at 14 points in 2015. In 2016, there was 8 applicants at 14 points. So, wow. I mean, it's an 8x swing of just that point column. And what this year-over-year draw odds comparison does is it allows a hunter to see, where people are jumping to. And every time somebody jumps, or all these applicants are jumping, there's also going to be a new opportunity that shows itself, which is the fun part, to see those trends and to see year over year. Not only do you see where your draw odds are declining because of a applicant switch, you're also going to see those new opportunities pop up as well. And it's always fun to see, and to pay attention to what hunts are opening up or which hunts are getting a bit harder. But yeah, that was just kind of a real world situation from, just a couple of days ago. My cousin and I were trying to figure out where we wanted to have them apply for. And yeah, that's what we found, which is a bit disheartening, but it's the way it goes.
Well, you got to know. Yeah, I mean, you would rather know going into it what the trend is and where you can, statistically, get your best chance and, have your the thing I like with the filtering 2.0 is not only that, but you can search for like quality bucks, age class of bucks, 150 or better, 170 or better, and be able to put all that together. And like you said, Brady found a hunt third season Colorado with 0 points, draws it, goes and kills a 200-inch buck. So, I mean, I think we can talk about the hunts that everybody knows about, but there's a ton of hunts out there that slide under the radar every year. And if you use this product, you're going to find those hunts that maybe don't require very many points at all, and some no points, at all, and can go have an incredible hunt. So.
And that's a great example too. Like Colorado Unit 3536 has, I'm not breaking open any secret there. The general population has definitely caught on to 3536 in that Eagle County right next to Unit 44. They've caught on to it, and those draw odds have insanely swayed where, a non-resident could draw that second choice, not burn any points, and go out there and hunt every third season. And now that is definitely not the case. It's going to take a pretty good heap of points to draw that tag now, where he, like I said, every time applicants jump to those units that are catching fire, there's always going to be an opportunity to show itself. And Brady used the product the way he knows how to, and went out there and killed a buck of a lifetime with one of those opportunities that showed up. Now this unit that he found is one that he can draw with no points, second choice, where 2 years ago it wasn't that case. And that's the way hunting goes in the West. Is it's all about trends, because you never know when you're actually going to draw the tag. And if you just stay up to date on those trends and that application process, you're going to find those opportunities and potentially be hunting really good animals every year.
For sure. Let's take a quick break here. I have known the owners of the Outdoorsmans in Phoenix for over 20 years. They are the authority on optics and hunting gear. Outdoorsmans is the leading designer and manufacturer of high-quality tripods, mounting accessories, and pack systems for all hunters. Their customer service is the best in the business. Go to outdoorsmans.com or call 1-800-291-8065 and use the J. Scott promo code to receive 10% off any products. Reel game calls featuring the elk reel. Reel Game Calls makes innovative, realistic, and easy-to-master calls using their proprietary, revolutionary design. They are located and manufactured in Gypsum, Colorado. Their calls were designed and battle-tested on some of the hardest hunted terrain on Earth. Check out elkreel.com. Use the promo code JScott and receive a 20% discount on all purchases. Go to www.elkreel.com. Okay, Lorenzo, I want to talk about Arizona. You have some exciting news as regards to my home state here in Arizona. Believe launching tomorrow. What's going on?
Yep, that's the big news. We launched year-over-year draw odds, but we didn't have Arizona draw odds for last year because of the change in their application or their draw process. So, our stance on that was I refuse to give out dated or wrong information, and I just felt like if we were to give draw odds based on the old draw process, we would be giving out wrong information. And that was my decision, and some people would have liked to see it, and I apologize that we didn't have it up, but I just couldn't get myself to offer dated information. So now that process has been going on for 1 year, and the applications are set and the data trends are set of who jumped to what unit with that change in draw process, we are now going to launch Arizona draw odds for the first time tomorrow, which is amazing news for us. It's been a thorn in our side just to make sure we can get it right and get the most accurate draws possible. And I'm extremely excited to say that it's going live tomorrow. And it's another state that sometimes be disheartening, but it's fun to know your odds for sure, and just to plan, So it's a good thing for us, and everybody else who's thinking about Arizona.
Yeah, for sure. And for those of you that don't know what Lorenzo's talking about, Arizona used to give 20% of the tags to max bonus point holders. And so for some of the top end elk hunts and deer hunts and such, you had to have max points in that unit or else you never even had a mathematical chance. And They would only take a few of those max point holders. Well, they changed the rule to 5% go in that 20% max pool, but then 5% go into a random draw, just in the regular random draw. So
Correct.
it finally became feasible for someone with 1 point to draw 13B rifle deer tag on the Arizona Strip, whereas before whatever the max points is, 24 or whatever, they had to have max to even be to even have a chance. Well,
yeah.
Obviously, for Lorenzo's crew, that was throwing a serious monkey wrench. They were happy in regards to the fact that they didn't have to have max points, but from a Go Hunt Insider standpoint, there was really no way to portray correct odds. And so it sounds like, Lorenzo, you wanted to at least get that 1 full year of this last year's draw under your belt. And now you guys are going to be able to show what the actual numbers were and in each bonus point class and who drew in the random pools and such.
Exactly.
And so, right off the bat here with application season and Arizona deadline, I believe for antelope and elk is coming up February 14th. Kicking right off the bat here, you're going to be able to use the Go Hunt Insider to see exactly who put in, how many people put in for some of those, hunts that we all care about, and be able to make an informed decision as to how to move forward, playing off of the trends of last year, rather than just throwing it in and just hoping.
Exactly, and thank you for that backstory. Sorry, I didn't quite explain it, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. That backstory of how Arizona changed really threw a wrench in our system, just because, like you said, we wanted to see, at what point level those random tags were being drawn, and and show that trend on how many people actually jumped into these max point only draws and those types of things. And we took 1 year off of Arizona for our insiders, but now we have the most accurate of the new process. So, it's always about a little bit of give and take when you're trying to grow something the right way. And that was a decision that we made, and something that we, are going forward with now is, we will have Arizona in year over year from now on. So it feels good to finally get that done for our users. And, hopefully they find a lot of use in it.
Yeah, that's great. I also wanted to touch on something that the listeners need to hear, and that is the Go Hunt Insider every single month has gear giveaways and hunt giveaways and things that all you have to do is be an insider member to your name gets thrown in the hat and you have just as good a chance as any other member. This month coming up of January 2017, there's going to be a 85 millimeter Vortex spotting scope given away. So a
There's
fortunate.
actually, we're going to be giving away 5 of those. So
Oh,
five different.
five of them.
Yeah.
Okay, five of them. And you've given away Dall sheep hunts and antelope hunts and 10 Kuyu sleeping bags and 10 Kuyu backpacks, and I believe you gave away some rifles. And every single month, I believe you gave away 100 phone scopes one month,
Yeah.
and
That was a fun month.
yeah, and so just for being an insider member, every month you have a chance to win. I even remember last year, you guys actually paid full price for two Coues deer hunts for with us, Colbert and Scott Outfitters, and
Yep.
two insider members got to go Coues deer hunting. And talk a little bit about how important it is to have your insider giveaways.
Yeah. So you brought up earlier too our free offering about some state by state information and just some general topics about what's going on in the industry. And both the giveaways in that part of our company, we want to give back to our users as well. We want to put hunting opportunities and hunting gear in their hands, and not just take it for ourselves per se. So we work closely with Vortex, and we obviously get some deals with them, but we want to give that back to our insiders as well. And it's all about building that relationship with our users and giving back to them. So, my favorite thing to do is send people on hunts, because I can't wait to hear about their stories and what they come back with. And, it's all about that adventure. So for us, our giveaways are a big part of our company and our company philosophy, just because, like I said, we want to develop that relationship with our users and give them the ability to go experience some of the things that we get to experience here in the office. So it's something that we're committed to, and we're always trying to give, the most we can or the best we can back to our users. And it's been a fun process for sure, and it's allowed us to work a lot closer with some of our partners like Vortex and Canyon Coolers and Browning, who's been awesome. Browning's definitely been a great company to work with. But yeah, it allows us to give those products and those experiences back to our insiders. And from what our analytics show and what we've heard, it definitely seems like it's appreciated out there in the industry. So we're going to keep doing it, and it's definitely something we're committed to.
That's fantastic. Speaking of Browning, how you liking your rifle?
Oh, I love my rifle.
What
Absolutely love it.
caliber are
And,
you shooting?
so I'm shooting a 26 Nosler, and it's somewhat of a new caliber, but it's being out there and people are starting to figure it out pretty good. And I just shoot off the shelf Nosler ammunition with it, and it is unbelievably accurate. I mean, it's a sub 3/4 of an inch gun at 100 yards. So it's an awesome gun. I have all the confidence in the world with it. I have a Vortex 6x24 PST on top of it, and I feel so confident with that gun. from 100 yards out to 700 yards. I feel like I can make the shot if the conditions are right. And I was shooting a 142 grain bullet out of it for a while, and this last right before Colorado, actually, I was out at the range and I saw nozzler started pushing their 129 grain pretty hard, and I stepped it down to the 129 grain bullet, and I'm like blown away with the accuracy and the ballistics of it. And I mean, it's fun to shoot steel with it because you can shoot it all day long with it, only being a 26 nozzler caliber. And it's been awesome. I can't say enough great things about the gun.
That's cool. I enjoyed that video that you guys did that's on your site. You going down there and meeting with the guys at Browning,
Yeah.
and you shooting long range, watching those guys shoot long range. That was a
Yeah.
neat video. That was another thing that you guys do a really good, really professional, really clean quality, good videos on some of your hunts.
Thank you.
And with some of your affiliates and partners and such. It's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's definitely one of my passions is video, just because like I said, I like to share in the experience. And so video has always been a big passion of mine. And I try to keep our vision of what our videos are going to be. I try to keep it as high level as possible. So it's nice to know that it's being recognized to some sort. And like you said, that video, that video is just simply to show that a factory gun like Browning can in fact shoot very accurately at 1,000 yards. Not to say I'm going to shoot an animal at that far or even think about it, but when you're out there shooting steel, just to know that that gun can perform at that distance, shot after shot. It's not to say that it can perform better than a custom gun or better than a gun built from the ground up. It was just simply to show that this gun can in fact shoot accurately at 1,000 yards. And that's what we try to do, is try to be as unbiased as possible about the products in the industry and just kind of educate people on what's what. So it's nice to know that it's being recognized to a certain aspect.
That's great, man. Well, as always, if you sign up, if you go to Go Hunt Insider and click on the blue Join Now button, use the J Scott promo code. Lorenzo, you guys have been gracious to people signing up using the J Scott promo code. You get a $50 KUIU gift card automatically. So you guys just automatically send a $50 KUIU gift card, which we all love KUIU, and
yes,
thanks for offering that to our listeners.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a company that both you and I believe in. Their gear is it's unmatched for sure.
Yeah,
and it's what you and I trust. So, we're more than happy to get back to users who are listening to you and also want to give us a try. So it's our pleasure to be doing that.
Yeah, and what shows coming up with the application season right here in front of us? What shows will you guys be at? I believe you are already at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation there in Vegas.
Yep.
What other shows will you guys have a presence at?
We will have a booth presence at the ISC show in Denver, the ISC show in Sacramento, the Outdoor Expo in Portland, Oregon, and then also the Western Hunting Convention in Salt Lake City. We actually have that published on our site right now about the dates and the location. If anybody wants to know, that's our show schedule for this year. So show season for us it's awesome. I mean, it's like as the hunters know, during hunting season we're all kind of going every which way, and it's hard to catch up and hard to get everybody in one spot at the same time because everybody has hunts overlapping in different states, and it just gets crazy. So I love show season just for that time that all the Western hunters get together, get to share the stories from the year in the past and then try to put your year together for the year coming forward. So, I'm looking forward to show season. It's always a good time.
That's great. Well, I hope you guys have a great hunt down in Sonora here in January. And I got to ask, are you going to get any waterfowling in this year?
It's funny you say that. I'm actually going to leave tomorrow to head up north to Seattle with one of my best friends from college. I'm going to hunt ducks for the next 3 days, and I cannot wait. It's kind of my treat to myself after getting year-over-year draws live and Arizona live. So I'm gonna take a couple days and go up there and waterfowl hunt. I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. I know it was a big part of your life in college and growing up, and you've been so busy, getting GoHunt.com and Insider where you want it. It's always nice to get out and pursue those passions that you have. So that's cool. I'm glad.
Exactly.
What kind of weather is it? Is it a good forecast for duck hunting?
Knock on wood, yes, it's good. They just had a snowstorm the other day, so a cold front just pushed in a bunch of new birds. Is the report I'm getting from my buddy. So it's supposed to be clear and crisp with 5 to 10 mile an hour winds all 3 days, which should be perfect. If it gets to that 10 to 15 mile an hour winds and crisp and sunny, I'm gonna be a pretty happy guy. So, knock
Awesome.
on wood. Hopefully that weather stays exactly what it's saying.
Awesome, buddy. Well, sounds
So,
good. We'll enjoy it and then have fun down in
thank you.
Sonora. And I encourage the listeners to look Lorenzo and his gang up at the different trade shows, and for sure check out Insider. And it's the best resource out there. And with the new Arizona odds, I can't wait to get on there here in a day or two and check out all the units and see what actually happened last year, because I think nobody really knows until we get to actually look at these numbers what happened last year with the new
Yeah,
change.
exactly. It's pretty interesting what happened. So, it's, I've obviously been able to look at it the past couple of days before we push it live, and it's pretty interesting to see what happened. It's definitely worthwhile to look at.
Awesome, buddy. Well, sounds good. Well, God bless. Have a good trip up there duck
Thank you.
hunting. Have a good trip in Sonora, and we'll see you down the road here at one of these shows. Thanks you again for all your support of my podcast and being so good to the J Scott Outdoors listeners, and also having great help and great employees and a great team there at GoHunt.com. You guys do an awesome bang up job there. So just keep up the great
Thank you.
work, okay?
Much appreciated, and thanks for having me on.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. See ya.